18.
Hello and welcome to our special broadcast from the Auto Expo 2023. I'm Parikshit Luthra. The Auto Expo, the Indian Motor Show, is making a return after a gap of 3 years, and the focus clearly is on clean mobility. Tata Motors had some big announcements here at the Auto Expo. They unveiled 26 vehicles across electric vehicle, the IC range in passenger vehicles and commercial vehicles as well. The focus here again was on electric vehicles. They showcased the Curve Coupe EV, the Avinya EV and a whole range of LNG, hydrogen fuel cell and electric buses and trucks as well. N. Chandrasekaran, the Tata Sons chairman, was here and he said that the electric vehicle transition would happen faster than expected. Listen in to what he said at the unveiling of the Tata Motors range at the Auto Expo.
In the passenger cars, we already had successful launches in the last 3-4 years, and we are grateful to Indian consumers for the tremendous encouragement that we have got, and we are confident that we chose the right strategy, and I truly believe that the transition to electric mobility in India will happen much faster than what we are imagining. It is my commitment to you that our investments in this space will be significant so that we can accelerate not only the transition to electric mobility, but give consumers absolutely world-class products.
Remember, Tata Motors is at number 3 in the Indian passenger vehicle market, and they have their eyes on the pole position. Maruti Suzuki had some announcements as well. They unveiled the EVX, which will be the first electric vehicle that will be brought to India by Maruti Suzuki in collaboration with Suzuki Motor Company in 2025. Even before that, we also saw a prototype of a flex fuel vehicle in a WagonR form. I caught up with the company's management, Shashank Srivastav, the Senior Executive Officer, Sales and Marketing, and the company's CTO, C.V. Raman. Listen in to what they had to say about these new offerings that have been launched by Maruti.
The adoption rate of EVs is the consensus is that it will be different for different category of vehicles. Like two-wheeler and three-wheeler, it will be before four-wheelers. The four-wheeler, for the four-wheelers, it will also be the TCO parity, which is the basis of calculation consumer makes for making choices, is more in favor of larger vehicles and smaller vehicles.
One can say the cost viability is greater in having an electric SUV right now, and you can expect some greater volumes as well?
Yes, so I would say larger vehicles. And SUV, of course, is because the segment is really doing well, and our projection is that the segment will continue to do well. Like, for example, in December, it touched 45% of the market. Overall, of course, it's still 42%, but the growth seems to be great going for SUV, and therefore for larger vehicles, SUV is obviously an obvious choice for getting into these. But one thing I must add, that it is also dependent on the usage of the vehicle. For example, in the smaller cars, you could see the fleet adoption being much faster. because it is not just the type of car which matters, but also the usage that you put to. So there is a consensus that maybe fleet and such usage will probably see a faster adoption than personal.
All right, Mr. Raman, as we move, and if you can tell us about the vehicle as well, give us a sense about the inspiration behind the design.
So as Shashank-san was explaining about the need and the growth in the SUV market, and SUV market is not just for India, but globally SUVs are growing, and this is a global unveil. The concept EVX is for the global market, and so therefore SUV as a theme has been kind of established in a way that that's where the growth is going to be, and so the concept is based on a SUV theme. It's a versatile, emotional, versatile cruiser. That's what EVX stands for. And what does a true SUV stand out for? One is high seating, a longer wheelbase, and very wide proportion, a very strong shoulder, upright hood, and upright seating. All of this is what represents a SUV. And now when you talk about SUV, and that too in an EV, we have to start, as we were talking about, a born electric. So from a platform perspective, all new platform is being developed, and so based on that, and this has got a 60 kilowatt battery. It has a
550 kilometers.
550 kilometers of range, and so that's based on our study of the market. We feel that that's a start point from where the easy adoption in this segment is possible.
What will be the extent of localization? Will it be 100% manufactured in India?
Yeah, of course. So we are doing about 10,000 crore investment in Gujarat, which was announced a couple of months back. And we are going to localize the batteries. By 2025, we will have all of that in place so that we are able to launch that for the market.
How will you keep the price competitive? Today in the market, you have 10 lakh EVs, you have 15 lakh EVs, and you have EVs in the range of 20 to 25 lakhs. Which bracket would this fall in?
So I think it's too early to talk about price because it will all depend on the extent of localization as well. And I must say that one of the big factors inhibiting the larger adoption of EVs across the world and also in India is the cost of acquisition. And in battery cost is obviously a very important cost. In fact, its estimates are it will be close to 50% of the total cost of EVs. And therefore, it's very important to get the battery cost down.
Well, it's not just the EVX which is catching eyeballs at the Maruti Suzuki stall at the Auto Expo. You've got this WagonR also, which is parked here, and there's something special about it. It's not your conventional petrol or diesel WagonR. It is a flex fuel vehicle. So what is a flex fuel vehicle? A flex fuel one which can run on higher ethanol blends. So this prototype that Maruti Suzuki is showcasing has been developed specifically for the India market. It has been developed by Maruti and Suzuki in collaboration with each other. It is being tested in India. It has a whole new engine, and there are significant upgrades which have been made to this vehicle. So from the inside, it is your regular WagonR. I'll call my camera person here. This is a manual transmission. You can see the gearbox right there, and the management tells us that they can easily convert it to an automatic gearbox as well. This will be your regular WagonR, but with a flex fuel engine. The hope is that when the company launches this vehicle, the higher ethanol blends will bring down the cost of your fuel. So let me tell you some of the parts which have completely changed. There are at least 35 to 40 new parts in a flex fuel engine. So you've got high flow injectors, fuel rail with heaters. It's got a internal engine component upgrade. You've got ethanol sensors. You've got a fuel heating control unit, a whole new wire harness, changes in the piston. So a lot of upgrades have been made, and you can't just run any vehicle on higher ethanol blends. You'll have to have a flex fuel vehicle. And there were some announcements in the two-wheeler space as well. A large number of electric two-wheeler startups are here at the Auto Expo. From Greaves Cotton, we heard of announcements of at least 6 electric vehicles, 3 in the two-wheeler space and 3 in the cargo and passenger vehicle space. Danish Anand, my colleague, visited their stall here at the Auto Expo, caught up with the management and got us a sneak peek into some of those products which were showcased by the company.
Greaves, as you know, back in 2016 was one of the early movers into sustainable mobility because we believed when you look at oil prices, when you look at long-term sustainability, electric vehicles are the way to go. Hence, we started investing in technology, styling, centers of excellence, manufacturing, people. And today what you're seeing are 6 new products in the high-speed two-wheeler and three-wheeler, both B2B and B2C applications. And we have started taking bookings for the Primus, which is our first high-speed foray starting today, the Primus scooter. Thank you.
And so what about the pricing? What is the pricing strategy and what do you think will make your company completely stand out in comparison to other players which have already moved in the EV segment?
So we were one of the earlier movers, and as you know, on the two-wheeler, we are one of the people where Magnus vehicle has been very well received, over 100,000 vehicles sold. In terms of, we believe we are one of the few people who offers an ecosystem play. What that means is we give a two-wheeler or a three-wheeler product. We also give financing, service, multi-brand service, multi-brand spares, and if you look at it, retails. We also sell other electric vehicles. So at the end of the day, when you look at the overall ecosystem of EV, we are one of the few players who plays in the overall ecosystem. That's what we believe should be a unique point. And our products are always competitively priced to the mass market. Thank you.
And so what about the charging infrastructure? What are your plans regarding the charging infrastructure? And do you plan to have both swappable battery as well as a plug-in system for your EVs?
Our systems will be ready for both charging, fast charging as well as swapping. And we believe in India, B2B applications will probably demand a lot more swapping, whereas the B2C customer will need charging. Our vehicles are equipped to do both.
Right. So very lastly, what is the initial sales target that you have and how much market share would you like to capture?
So as you know, our market share today is in the double digits, and our intent is these products should continue to keep us in the leadership frame with 6 new products designed in India, styled in India, made for the masses.
So that was Greaves Cotton. I also visited the booth of Ashok Leyland. They had at least 7 vehicles showcased here at the Auto Expo. They had LNG vehicles, a hydrogen fuel cell truck, a CNG truck, and they also had an electric vehicle truck as well. The company's management, the new MD Shenu Agarwal and the company's Chief Technology Officer N. Sarvanan told me that the Boss EV will be launched in the next couple of months and they hope for continued strong growth in the commercial vehicle segment. Listen in.
The roadmap is very, very clear because the future is going to be different and therefore we want to be prepared for the future. And that is our play at the Auto Expo as well. We have nothing from diesel or old fuel here. Everything is future, right? Starting from CNG, LNG and electric and hydrogen, etc. Right? So
out of these technologies that you're showcasing, which one would you like to bring to market probably in the next 1 year or as early as possible?
Yeah, so I would ask Doc to...
The question depends on the ecosystem availability. We believe CNG ecosystem is building up quite fast, so is LNG, so we expect the CNG and LNG to come at a quicker pace, followed by EVs, of course, especially in segments where there's intracity applications where it's possible to put charges much quickly, followed that with maybe the hydrogen-based vehicles, both the fuels and the hydrogenized. So for us, CNG, LNG and battery electric vehicle in some segments, followed by the hydrogen-based vehicles, is what we see.
Mr. Agarwal, could you give us a sense, as we move ahead and show our viewers what else is happening here at the Ashok Leyland booth, could you give us a sense of the kind of investments you're making in these different technologies? And if we were to ask you to divide it in terms of a percentage, could you explain us what will be the allocation?
Yeah, so without going with a specific number, I would say that about 70% of our capital expenditure on R&D is happening on the alternative technologies.
70% is going towards
Yeah.
R&D technologies.
Yeah.
As we see these technologies, which are some of the products you're likely to launch in FY24?
For example, you see the Boss EV. This is a segment where you're starting to see electrification happen quite quickly, particularly short point-to-point hauls. You can actually see EVs coming to picture. So this would be probably one of the first vehicles from a non-CNG LNG perspective coming to picture. The Boss EV, which is from 10-ton to 18-ton platform, could be one of the first products to come into the market.
Right. If I were to ask you about some of the policy clarity that you need from the government at this stage to have a clear roadmap, what would that be?
I think the government has been quite active in the last couple of years. We do have reasonable amount of clarity, other than small noise once in a while, but there's reasonable clarity in terms of what the government wants to push in terms of electrification, also in terms of recent hydrogen policy. There is clarity. Now the question of investments from not just from OEM perspective, investment from the ecosystem perspective. For example, if we take electrification, there's a need for high power charging infrastructure, not just charging for the cars. So that's the challenge. How does one go about it? I think we'll see. The ecosystem will evolve around.
My final question as we end, how do you expect to close FY20, FY23 and maybe some of the challenges to growth that you see in the next fiscal?
Yeah, so FY23 has been really, really very good for us so far, and I hope the last quarter would be more, would actually be better. We have a good tailwind because the industry is moving very, very well. Industry is about to reach maybe its peak this year or next year. And on top of that, we have been able to recover a lot of our market share that we had lost. So we are, from the point of market share also, we will be pretty much at our highest ever by end of this year. That is what we are hoping.
On that note, we take a short break, but don't go anywhere. Our coverage from the Auto Expo 2023 continue, and we'll get you special reports from Hyundai, Kia, and a whole lot of auto makers here at the Auto Expo. Don't go anywhere. Yes, here at the Auto Expo, MG Motor showcased 14 production-ready vehicles, primarily in the electric vehicle and the hybrid space. You had the Hector facelift, which has been launched with significant upgrades at a starting price of around 14.8 lakhs. You also had an electric hatch, which was showcased, the MG4, and the EHS electric hybrid SUV that was showcased by MG Motor. There is also going to be one surprise that they have up their sleeve, which could be the MG Air EV, an intra-city electric vehicle that could be launched in the next few months. I caught up with Rajiv Chaba, the Managing Director and CEO of MG Motor India. Listen in to what he had to say.
The purpose of this whole demonstration is to showcase the technology that we have new energy vehicles ready, both in EV as well as in hybrids, especially within hybrids, PHEV. And PHEV we don't have in India that. So plug-in hybrids and EVs are ready. So depending on the consumer interest, depending on the government direction, we can launch these cars. Also, out of EVs, what we are showing in MG4 is one of them. We will be taking the feedback, and one of these 4 EVs, what we are showcasing, hopefully we should bring it next year. So, mind it, we are going to launch one EV which we have not showcased here. That EV we are going to launch in the next few months. So that's our second EV in our portfolio. And another EV out of these 4 cars, including this car, we will launch next year.
There's been a lot of speculation about the Air EV. And that could be a launch in the 10 to 15 lakh bracket. Could you tell us a bit about it? What will be the strategy behind that?
So I would not say any comment to your naming, Air. I don't know, I can't reveal the name of that car right now, but yes, you're right. It's an EV, it's between 10 to 15 lakhs of rupees. It will be a smart urban mobility solution. It will be a very unique mobility solution, which our country hasn't seen as such.
How do you expect to complete the fiscal year FY23, and what kind of volumes are you expecting in the coming
So this year, last year, 22 calendar year, we ended up selling 50,000 cars, which I think was okay performance, but nothing great. I think some of the competitors did a much better job because the industry grew by almost 22-25% and we grew only by 20%. And the reason was that we had some issues on chips shortages. This year's supplies have already started improving, and we have launched Hector MCE and facelift, and also the new EV we are going to launch. So against the industry growth of 8 or 9% this year, I think our growth should be 80 or 90%.
Hyundai and Kia Motors also came out strong at the Auto Expo. Remember, these are two companies that together want to challenge Maruti Suzuki's leadership position. Hyundai formally launched the Ioniq 5, and Kia had the new Carnival, which was launched at the Auto Expo. Danish Anand visited the Kia India stall here at the Auto Expo, caught up with the management, the company's head of sales, Hardeep Brar. Listen in to what he had to say.
One of the latest entrants in India's crowded car market, Kia Motors today showcased two of its vehicles. The first one is the Kia Concept EV9, and as you can see, this car is completely different as far as looks are concerned. This will be a full electric car whenever it's launched, and as far as the design is concerned, it has some good design cues all around. You talk about the tail lamps, you talk about the indicators, everything comes with a very unique design. Well, one of the most interesting feature about the Kia Concept EV9 is that this car is built on Kia's eGMP, which is the Electric Global Modular Platform. And this is Kia's EV's dedicated platform, which comprises of the chassis of the vehicle, the battery, motor, power electric system, and this allows the company to manufacture a different kind of vehicles due to a scalable wheelbase. The second car the company has showcased is the KA4. Well, the KA4 is a luxury MPV, and it is expected that whenever this car is launched in India, it will replace the existing Kia Carnival. Let's talk about the design first. If you look at the front design, this car will come with a completely different front fascia. There are interesting design cues over here, as you can see, and we can see that a lot of chrome has been used to give a very luxurious look and feel. On the sides, you will see that the car comes with a good design. These are the first two cars that the company has showcased today. Besides this, the company also showcased two more vehicles which can be used as a police PCR, or it can be used as an ambulance. But one more thing that the company today announced was a 2,000 crore investment. So all in all, if we see, Kia has given us a small highlight of how the future cars will look like.
Concept is basically to take feedback from the consumers, how they really like the product, what kind of features they would like to have in this product. So, Auto Expo gives us a platform where we can really, talk to our consumers and understand more of their needs and what they feel about the products. So we are still under exploratory stage at this point in time. I think exact timelines we will, once we do a little more study and what is the outcome of Auto Expo, I think then we'll be able to clearly tell. But definitely not this year, maybe we'll explore it in the subsequent years.
So what will be the biggest USP of the concept car, and what will make it literally stand out from the other cars in the crowd?
So I think if you look at the stance of the car, it looks very, very bold. It looks like a tank. And when you look inside, the entire thing is very, very sophisticated, luxurious, very well connected and digitized. And the number of autonomous features we are thinking of getting into this car, I think that will be our next level. So all this put together, I think this is going to be a great package we have not yet launched it globally. I think global launch we are looking at sometime this year. And then we will talk about the India market, because we are already launched 5 products in 3 years, which is probably one of the best in the industry. So we want the existing cars to perform well, and then we'll think about the other cars.
So very lastly, we are seeing that as far as the charging infrastructure is concerned for EVs, that is being developed by not only by the central government, also by the state governments, and we are seeing a lot of play being done by the companies. So since all of this is now sorted, what is your game plan for EVs in India?
See, I think the biggest thing which can really take care of the range anxieties, as we call it from the consumer standpoint, is the kind of range which an EV gives you. So for example, EV6 that we have launched, as per the ARI numbers, it gives a mileage of more than 700 kilometers on a single charge. So imagine when the range is so huge, you're not going to travel more than 600-700 kilometers in a day. So I think that takes care of a lot of anxiety, and as you rightly mentioned, there's a lot of impetus from the state, central government in terms of increasing the charging infrastructure. So I think both put together, I think we are more than sorted for the time being.
All right, that's all we have time for on this edition of our special from Auto Expo. We'll get you another broadcast tomorrow with launches from Tata Motors. Remember, the Jimny from Maruti Suzuki, the Fronx are also going to be launched tomorrow. Important launches to watch out for. Thank you for watching. Good boy.
InCred Financial Services.